All right, Falcons fans. The Atlanta Falcons are on the move and looking to make some big trades, some real blockbusters, and there's a lot of buzz around the web about the decisions they're going to make to organize our team. I'm going to tell you all about it and keep you well informed. But before we dive into this blockbuster trade scenario, take a second to hit the like button. It helps keep us here with you every day. Now, let's get into this aggressive play that has the Falcons shaking up the 2025 NFL Draft. So, Jacob Infante of Pro Football Sports Network just released a mock draft that has everyone talking. He's predicting that the Falcons won't just sit around at number 15, they'll move up, and not for an edge rusher, but for a top-tier cornerback. Now, I know a lot of you have been screaming for pass rush help, and trust me, I get it, but stick with me here, because this move could make sense. Infante moved Atlanta up 5 spots to number 10 in a deal with the Chicago Bears to pick up Michigan blocking cornerback Will Johnson. In the proposed trade, the Falcons would send their 15th and 46th overall picks, plus a 2026 fourth-rounder, to Chicago. In return, Atlanta would receive the 10th pick and a third-rounder at number 72. It's a bold move, and it means giving up a second-rounder this year, but it also gives the Falcons what some scouts are calling the total package at cornerback. Let's break down why this move could be a game-changer. Will Johnson has the size, speed, instincts, and physicality to be an instant impact player in the secondary. He's ranked as the number 2 cornerback in this draft class behind only Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter. We're talking about a guy with elite potential, someone who could finally give A.J. Terrell a true partner on the outside. And let's be real, our secondary was rough last season. We finished 22nd in pass defense and gave up the second most passing touchdowns in the league. That's unacceptable if this team wants to be a legitimate contender. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, why not go edge rusher? And that's a fair question. This team has needed a dominant pass rusher for what feels like forever, and moving up to 10 might seem like the perfect chance to land one. But here's the reality, the best edge rushers in this draft are likely gone by pick 10, and the ones that might be available aren't guaranteed to be better than what we could find later in the draft. Plus, a shutdown corner can be just as impactful in stopping opposing quarterbacks as a pass rusher. If you can take away a team's number 1 receiver, that changes the entire dynamic of a defense. Another big reason this trade makes sense? The Falcons are in win-now mode. Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris don't have time to waste. If this team doesn't make major strides in 2025, their jobs could be on the line. That means aggressive moves, and that means taking risks to put the best possible product on the field right now. Johnson gives this defense an instant boost and helps solidify a secondary that desperately needs talent. Of course, trading up has its downsides. By making this move, the Falcons wouldn't pick again until number 72. That means they'd likely have to address their edge rusher needs with later-round picks or through free agency. It's a gamble, but one that could pay off big if Johnson turns into the star many believe he can be. So now I turn it over to you, Falcons fans. Do you like the idea of moving up for a cornerback like Will Johnson, or do you think we should stay put and focus on edge rusher? Would you be willing to give up a second-rounder to get a game-changing defensive back? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The Atlanta Falcons have one mission this offseason: fix the pass rush. For years, we've been talking about the need to find a true disruptor on the defensive line, and here we are again in 2025, still searching for that missing piece. Whether through free agency, the draft, or a trade, it has to happen now. And according to Aaron Schatz of ESPN, the Falcons could be looking at free agent edge rusher Malcolm Koonce as part of the solution. Koonce, who turns 27 in June, missed the entire 2024 season with a knee injury, but in 2023, he proved his worth with 8 sacks and 29 pressures. His pass rush win rate of 17.5% ranked 22nd among all qualifying edge rushers, just behind his former Raiders teammate Max Crosby. Now, if we're being honest, Koonce isn't the splashy name that some fans might hope for. He's not Haason Reddick or Khalil Mack. But let's be real, those guys are going to command big money, and the Falcons might not be in the best position to win those bidding wars. What Koonce offers is efficiency. He's a younger, productive pass rusher who wouldn't break the bank, allowing the team to allocate resources elsewhere. Pairing him with Arnold Ebiketie could give Atlanta the edge presence they've lacked for years. And let's not forget, 3 of the Falcons' top 4 edge rushers are free agents right now. Something has to be done, and Koonce could be part of the solution. But that's not all. The NFL Combine is underway, and Tennessee edge James Pierce Jr., who has been frequently mocked to the Falcons at number 15, just put up an absolutely ridiculous 40-yard dash time. We're talking 4.47 seconds at 6'5", 250 pounds. That's unreal. Pierce is already one of the most intriguing edge rusher prospects in this draft class. Over his 3 seasons at Tennessee, he racked up 2 sacks as a freshman, exploded for 10 as a sophomore, and finished with 7.5 in his junior season. He even had a 52-yard pick-six in the Citrus Bowl last year. For a team that has been desperate for an elite pass rusher, Pierce checks all the boxes. He's got the production, the explosiveness, and now we've seen his speed on full display. And here's something to consider: Raheem Morris defensive schemes often ask edge rushers to drop into coverage. With that kind of speed, Pierce might be an ideal fit. So here's the big question for Falcons fans: do you want to see the team go all in on a player like James Pierce Jr. in the draft? Or would you rather see them make a move in free agency for someone like Kuntz? Let me know what you think in the comments. The Atlanta Falcons have made an interesting and somewhat unusual decision ahead of this year's NFL Combine. The team has announced that they will only be meeting with defensive players during the event. That's right. The coaching staff and front office leadership attending the Combine will be entirely focused on one side of the ball, defense. Now, should this really come as a surprise? Not at all. The Falcons are heading into the 2025 season with almost their entire offensive lineup locked in. The only real question mark is at center, with Drew Dalman no longer on the roster. But every other key piece is set to return. That means the offense, led by playmakers like Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson, is essentially intact. On the other hand, the defense is a different story. It's no secret that Atlanta struggled on that side of the ball last season. There are major holes to fill at nearly every level, particularly in the secondary and pass rush. In fact, if you look at the current roster, the Falcons don't have a single proven edge rusher under contract. That's a serious problem, and it makes perfect sense that the front office is laser-focused on fixing it. The secondary, while not as depleted, still needs significant reinforcements. A.J. Terrell and Jesse Bates are both under contract, which gives the team a strong foundation, but they need to find 2 new starting corners and replace Justin Simmons at safety. That's 3 starters in the secondary alone, not to mention the pressing need to add 2 legitimate edge rushers and bolster the middle of the defense. With all of that in mind, the Falcons' strategy at the Combine becomes much clearer. This is a team that has used its last 4 first-round draft picks on offensive players: Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Michael Penix Jr., but for the first time under GM Terry Fontenot, it looks like the Falcons are finally ready to use their top pick on a defensive playmaker. And honestly, that's the right call. Atlanta's offense, despite its ups and downs, has the talent to be one of the best in the league. The problem has never been scoring points, it's been stopping the other team from doing the same. A revamped defense could be the missing piece that finally gets this team over the hump. So, Falcons fans, what do you think? Do you like the team's all-in approach on defense at the Combine? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you stay updated on everything happening with the Falcons this offseason. Go Falcons!